Welcome back to another episode of Our Voice, Our Opinions. And today we're going to do a little bit of talking about our kids. In the news, there was this big thing about this mob of kids that had attacked someone on the bridge. They went into a convenience store, just a mob of, they were saying in the news, about 200 kids. My question immediately was, where are your parents? So that's my question.
At home? Chilling? I don't.
You know, where are the parents?
Well, they weren't. I don't think they were of the age that they had to be under their parents. Weren't they like middle schoolers and high schoolers?
Middle school does not have to be under the.
They never even said their age. That's a good question.
How old were they? Okay, well, how old is old enough? Because I would just say, and then you know what? I was raised by much older parents.
50 years ago.
You know. Okay. We do not condone violence on TV.
You know what? I'm not gonna go there. I'm not that far behind you, Bree. And even in high school, even we got to the point I didn't have to report, but it was common courtesy. My dad was like, "You grown now," but I still would like to know where you were. So maybe not where the parents. We got a different era of parents altogether.
Oh, that's very true.
It was late because it was dark. So I think it was like
it was
9.
Like it was
after 8. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
All right. So how late really was it? Because it's still after 8. That's not late for a teenager to be out on a weekend.
Right.
That's
okay, but here's my question. All right. Still, well, maybe it's not where were your parents. It's what are your parents teaching you?
Oh, that's a whole nother question.
Okay, maybe that's what we should be asking.
That's a whole nother question.
What are your parents teaching you? Because first of all,
sometimes it's nothing.
if my mama had found out.
But yeah. That's a totally different generation, totally different time, and parents are totally different now. They say, well, I'm just going on the waterfront. So you walking down to the waterfront. It's no big deal. But they don't know that one kid says, hey, I'm gonna get this dude over here. And then the rest of them are laughing and joking and it builds to this big old thing. It could have been a after school, high school dance or something. Oh, we're all gonna walk down to the waterfront. You never know how it got to that point. But like you said, what are these parents teaching their children? Because you just don't know what they're doing when they get out there.
And it was just random acts of violence. I mean, I've read several different stories, and the first article I read, I was like, oh, okay. And then the more I read, it was like, oh, I mean, they were really just randomly picking people out. I mean, and they were just, for what reason, I don't know. They were beating folk up, which is the worst thing.
They beat a woman up at the gas station that they went to.
Beat them up in front of her kids.
Right.
I saw a video that was showing them. This must have been later on their way from somewhere to Broadway, going past the Courier Journal building. They jumped over people's cars. I think they kicked somebody's window in. The question is, what are they being taught? I mean, it's one thing for you to just to follow the crowd. It's another to say, okay, this is going a little bit too far.
There is the mob mentality. Even psychologists will say, literally, there is something called a mob mentality, where kids who wouldn't even do something in that type of environment, something clicks, and then they just join in.
We did that. It would be when we used to hang. We didn't necessarily beat people up and stuff like that, but we got a little rowdy, and the more people we had, you just start talking that stuff. But we had limits though. It's like
that's
because of your own
I mean,
training.
peer pressure should only affect you so much.
Right,
because
at
training.
A certain point,
right, at a certain point,
mama clicks in.
Right.
If my mama see me. Because if my mama saw me on that video, or I might have been in the back, y'all wasn't going to get me off camera.
Think about all these kids' parents who were doing the exact same thing in the last big episode that happened in Louisville. They were out doing the mob thing. So my thing is, if nothing else, they're looking at the influences of their parents, their uncles, their aunts, and whatever.
And we're saying parents, but is it really the parent, or is
just
it
those they look up to?
Is it a caregiver? How many kids actually have a parent at home?
Right.
Because the thing is, these kids had to go home after all this happened, right?
Right.
So you walking in the house at who knows what time, because all this has happened and taking place. What you walking into? Did they even come home to a parent who realized that they've been gone all day? So I mean,
and if it's a single parent home, you got moms who's working, she's trying to make ends meet, or she just relaxing, or she's happy that the kids are out of the house for the moment. So you have that situation going on. So you never really know. We could be totally wrong. All of those kids could have had both parents at home, and
True.
they still just, you know,
True.
you never really know
That's
what's
true.
going on. But the problem is our kids are the ones that's doing this, and this is just. It doesn't happen every weekend. It was just that particular one. I think they said somebody said somebody had met down there for a flash mob. They were trying to do a big flash mob thing on the waterfront. So that's
Yeah, I heard that, and I heard of the vigil. They were going to do a vigil
For
for.
the little
For
boy
somebody
that died on the bus.
Right.
Sad.
That's where it all
So
started.
basically, there were just a bunch of kids there together. So those are things we can't control. When we come back, we're gonna need to talk about some things that we possibly can control, like our kids and social media.
well, this
Yeah, that's-
belt
that's
right
tough.
here.
Right, this is
So
social.
we'll talk about that when we come back.